Alright team, so we are back with some remake content, and I'm hitting you with another back-to-back upload. We missed a day of uploading the other day, so I figured we'd kind of play catch-up a little bit. And also, this is a video that was not planned. This is actually based on a comment I got on yesterday's video. So Gavin Jones left a comment on yesterday's video asking me my thoughts on Remake Part 2 having a demo, and this is something that I honestly hadn't even thought about or considered even one time. Never even crossed my mind. And it's honestly a good question, and right out the gate I can hit you guys with my thoughts. Based on the history of the Final Fantasy series, there's no reason that Part 2 should not have a demo. But this, of course, is based on the assumption that Part 2 is going to be a standalone game. But when it comes to the Final Fantasy series, every single numbered entry from 7 to 15, and of course now Remake Part 1, has had a demo. Even the MMOs 11 and 14 have had free trials, and like 14's got like a free-to-play version of it. And even some of them, like 7 and 15, have had multiple different demos, and not even just the numbered entries, but also their sequels. 10-2 had a demo, 13-2 had a demo, and Lightning Returns. So as you can see, when it comes to the franchise, demos are very, very common. If you include the sequels to some of the more somewhat recent numbered entries, and if you include, of course, Remake, you're looking at the last, like, 13 mainline Final Fantasy games having demos or free trials. So based on this, I think it's all but guaranteed that Part 2 would have a demo, but it also kind of comes down to what is the Remake project. Is Part 2 going to be an actual standalone game? Whenever Part 2 comes out, releases, whatever, am I going to be able to walk into the store and buy it, or is it something like an expansion pack? We've talked about this a lot lately. With the level cap in Remake Part 1 being 50, it's pretty abnormal when it comes to the Final Fantasy series. Generally speaking, and there's a bunch of different kinds of games out there, but generally speaking, when it comes to a Final Fantasy game, you can level up to 99. The fact that there's a level cap in Part 1 sort of like hints or insinuates like an expansion pack or a DLC or something that's going to add levels, because it's weird to have a hard level cap. I look at it like two different ways, because it seems like the level cap's there to prevent you from getting too strong so you're not just absolutely decimating the hard mode stuff, right? But at the same time, if the default highest level you could get in Remake Part 1 was 99, they could have just made the hard mode stuff scale to a level 99 character. Like Pride and Joy, you'd have to be pretty much 99 to be able to beat them. Like they could have done that. But the fact that there is a level cap in the game, to me, insinuates that there would be something to give us more levels at a later point. Now, whether or not that is a standalone game that just has a natural higher level cap, whether we could data transfer to Part 2 and it has a higher level cap, or some sort of an expansion comes out for Part 1 that just adds more additional levels, we don't know at this point. The point of this entire spiel right here is that if it's a standalone game that you could go into the store and buy for $60, then yeah, there's probably going to be a demo for it. But if it is something that's like digital content, it's, Part 2, it's $60, it is a full gaming experience, but it's essentially an expansion pack or DLC for Part 1, then it wouldn't need a demo. And to be honest, when it comes to the gameplay aspect of Part 2, it's going to play more than likely the exact same. The battle system is going to be almost the exact same. They're probably going to add some additional stuff, but they spent years building this fast-paced, action-oriented combat system. They're not going to scrap it and build a new one for Part 2. They're going to probably add stuff to it, but it's going to be pretty much the same thing. So if you want to test out the gameplay aspect, you can always just download the Remake's demo. Even though we looked at a shit ton of the games and seen that they had demos, the thing is, a lot of those aren't direct sequels of each other, so they need demos. And secondly, the ones that are direct sequels, like 10 and 10-2 and the 13 Trilogy, all have different battle systems, so you need a demo for that reason as well. But assuming that Part 2 is going to play pretty much the exact same as Part 1 for the Remake project, you kind of don't really need a demo. And to be clear, I'm saying this from the perspective of somebody that thinks there will be a demo for Part 2 just based on the history of the franchise. But just kind of looking at it from both sides, unless the gameplay is very different from Part 1, you kind of don't need a demo. And also when it comes to a demo for Part 2, I don't know how and where you do it at exactly, because we knew that Part 1 was, if it was going to have a demo, it was just going to be the bombing mission again, because that's what the original game's demo was. However, that being said, as I mentioned previously, Final Fantasy VII did have multiple demos, and the other additional demos actually took place in locations that would potentially be in Part 2, Mount Corel and the Battle Square and Gold Saucer. So maybe if Part 2 has a demo, you put it in one of those locations and you do some kind of like basic questing, similar to like the bombing mission, something that's like, 15, 20 minutes or some shit. But something else worth talking about and discussing that Gavin Jones mentioned in his comment is data mining. This was a big problem last year. Now, this was kind of out of Square Enix's hands because they were putting the demo on like the PlayStation Network, but not public. They hadn't announced it or revealed it yet. But it was found by people online, and they were able to somehow, I don't remember how, because it's been a while since we talked about it. It's been almost a year, been close to a year. They were able to get the damn demo. They were able to download it off the internet and make it work and play it on like jailbroken PS4s. But also because they're able to get the demo and make it playable, they're able to data mine the demo. And we had a shit ton of stuff leak for the game way ahead of release. We had like the entire script leak online, which gave us the entire story of the game. We had a lot of the cutscenes for the game leak online, some of the gameplay and animations we hadn't seen yet, and stuff like Red 13 being revealed and Rufus, even though they had yet to show that to us because of them data mining the demo, we got to confirmation that those characters existed and what they look like. And if Part 2 ends up having a demo as well, this is 110% going to happen again. This will happen without a doubt. They will leak the entire story online again. But on the flip side of all that, Square Enix kind of knew that was going to happen because it happened with Final Fantasy XV. The demo came out, people data mined it, a lot of shit for the game leaked ahead of time. When you look at it like that, it kind of makes you wonder, do you even want a demo? Like, leaks, for me, don't necessarily bother me. I definitely want to go into a game fresh, but like, if I came across like the spoilers and the leaks and stuff ahead of time for Remake, it wouldn't have ruined my gaming experience, but I certainly didn't seek them out. But to be honest, unless Remake Part 2 is vastly different from the first game, I don't even care about a demo. Like, unless I have to learn a completely new battle system, I don't really care about a demo. If it exists, I'll absolutely download it and play it, of course. But it's not something I'm, like, pining for anymore like I was for the first game. It's an interesting topic, man. Something interesting to think about and discuss. And I do think that Part 2 is going to be a standalone game. I think it is going to be something that you can buy separately from Part 1. And for that reason, I do think there will be a demo for it. I'm just not entirely sure how they would handle a demo for Part 2. Like, we know that the game's probably going to start somewhere around Calm, so maybe the demo takes place there. Because, like, it makes sense that they would maybe do Mount Krell or the Gold Saucer Battle Square, because that's what one of the original demos for the original game. But at the same time, I don't know if they would want to show one of those locations that are going to be, like, hours into the game ahead of time, right? But that being said, we don't even know that Part 2 is going to go as far as Gold Saucer or Mount Krell. We think it will based on some of the stuff we talked about in the past, like Cosmo Canyon having to be in the game and the game possibly ended in Nibelheim. But none of that's confirmed. We have no idea if that's actually going to happen. So how will they handle a demo? I'm just not sure, man. But that's why I wanted to make this video and why I want to pass it off to you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on Part 2 having a demo? And if it does have a demo, what exactly would that entail? Because it was easy to speculate that the first game's demo would be the bombing mission just because that's what they did in the past in 97 or 96 or whenever it came out. But if Part 2 does have a demo, where exactly would that take place and what would we even be doing in the demo? Definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, but either way, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter at dashingdavid. Add my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Obey.